Hey everybody. Had a little technical glitch, but I always have backups, and yeah, we're here and ready to roll. Wanted to give you a quick look at this warning, and this warning, as Tom just told me, was like an 8 minute long warning. So there's a severe thunderstorm warning for northwestern Vernon Parish, and this cell, it looked like, if anything, it had a hail potential right there around the southern end of Toledo Bend Lake and Monk's Hammock, Haddon's, and then up toward Toro. Again, it seems like we're always announcing Toro. Poor people out there. It just keeps on a storming. I think this warning was so short because it's basically not going to stick around in this area for that long that it crosses into Shreveport's area. So here is the text on this. There is a severe thunderstorm warning until 4:15, so that's 2 more minutes. This is a severe thunderstorm located over Toledo Bend Dam, moving northeast at 55. Hazard is 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. So that is the cell we're looking at right there. Let's go ahead and take a look at velocity. Let's take a look at the base stuff here and just see what we've got. We don't see rotation that's jumping out at me or anything. And that hail core, I'm going to go ahead and do my volume scan. Again, when we're seeing more of these hail-type storms, we're going to do a lot more of this stuff. So let's go ahead and take a slice through this, see what we've got going on. There's your hail core right there. It is elevated still, it looks like. That is going to fall out of this storm and create some problems. Probably, again, quarter-sized hail for this storm near Toledo Bend Dam right now. This is not looking quite as ferocious as some of those cells we saw the other day, but you can see that solid core right there between 10 and 20,000 feet. So that's going to fall out as it heads toward the northeast, and hopefully that just flushes the storm out. We don't have any more of that to deal with, and it doesn't cycle back up. So let's go back to regular radar, and there you go. Tornado watch continues until 7 p.m. for Wynn, Natchitoches, and Sabine Parish, not Grant, and then Vernon and Beauregard until 9. And again, I think this gets expanded a little further east. So we'll be watching that closely, but I figured it was time for an update anyway with all this stuff. We've been talking about it. Yeah, Toro, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you for the welcome home. I'm glad to be here. I left a day early, came back through a lot of rain and stuff, but we are here and ready to roll. I'm here. Kristen stayed for another day. That's the beauty of having Lily's car out there. Let me see. I'm not looking for debris here, but yeah, a little bit of a hail sig showing up there right along the Sabine-Vernon Parish line. I'm going to check the hail swath on this. Again, not what we were seeing the other day, for sure. But you can see it really did pulse up there, right there at Toledo Bend Dam. Heading up toward Toro, you might see a little hail out of this one. I'll put things in motion, show you what's going on, talk a little bit more about what is happening right now, which is kind of the beginning of this severe event. We've been talking about this for days and days. What is this going to look like? We've seen all the wind over the last few days. It's been really warm and humid. I was on the other side of the front briefly this morning before I left, and it was glorious. You can see the view toward the south there on Toledo Bend. This is looking right toward that storm, and there's so much moisture and haze and just kind of funk out in front of that we're not able to see the storm structure with this, but there is certainly some heavy rain and probably at least some small hail going on there. So let me know if you see any, because your reports are very, very important to kind of keeping things going here and just knowing what's happening. It really helps me out. So let me see on I'm not going to stick around here long. Actually, what we'll do, I'm going to go over here, and I've done this on the fly before. You get it. You know how informal we are here. I couldn't get the 24-hour channel thing to cross over, so I'm back here doing this just for Facebook and YouTube, but that means the channel's running on its own, so that's all right. Let's do... There's your severe outlook. You can see it got trimmed back to marginal up there near Shreveport. The front is through there, so only a little risk of hail once that front comes through and you cool things off. Let's take a look at the significant hail forecast. I'm just going to pull all these up. I'll do them one by one. This is the area where we have that 10% or greater risk for hail 2 inches in diameter or larger. That would be golf ball size hail roughly or larger. And that includes most of the area from Faraday, Alexandria down to, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're exactly in this. If you're close to it, you have that risk. So DeRidder, Oakdale, Leesville, up into Sabine Parish, you're all in this risk. And that is one of those things where it's isolated, but where it happens, big impact. We saw this around Pacton last week, Campty. We had hail reports larger than golf balls, and that's going to produce some roof damage. If you see the roof damage, you know Igloo Roofing is the one to call. Let's go to wind This right here, 30% risk for the damaging winds. It'll pop up in just a second. Actually, I have to double click it, so here you go. Wind risk for today, 30%. Again, behind that front, it's a hard edge. It cuts off right behind it. So 30% risk for the damaging winds in excess of 58 miles per hour. Why is it 58? Because it's 50 nautical miles per hour, 50 knots. So we go with 58. That's the exact when you cross that over, when you go and transfer those numbers from knots to miles per hour, that's what we get. It's a weird number, but hey, that's how we roll. And then if you have tree damage, we know who we're calling there. We're calling Mountain Man Tree Service. They will get you set up and get you fixed with all this, and I'll show you all this information after the storm passes by, because it's easy enough to find that stuff. But we appreciate our sponsors here, and certainly want you to be safe and taken care of in these things. And then, fortunately, I don't think I have a sponsor for the tornadoes. We don't have. No, you know how that goes. 10% risk for tornadoes across the area today. I'm going to show you the significant tornado threat, because here's the thing. We have a lot of low-level wind shear with this system, so 10% risk for tornadoes of EF2 or greater strength within 25 miles of a point. I posted about this yesterday. It's hard for me to go and tell you have a 0.3% chance of a significant tornado impacting you and you really taking action to that. So going with this 10% within 25 miles of a point shows that there is a decent chance for tornadoes in a given area, but it's impossible to say exactly where. So we kind of broad brush it that way. But given the factors in place today, we have a chance to see possibly strong tornadoes that could cause significant damage. And we saw what the EF1 did in Boise. I mean, that was ripping off roofs of sheds and snapping trees. So a weak tornado, still pretty strong, causing big time problems. So that is your tornado threat. I'll show you the general tornado threat. Let's see, there we go. So that's the strong tornadoes, and we did talk about this one. So 2%, again, right behind that front, this stuff cuts off. The only real risk is going to be hail, but that 10% risk there. 5% for the rest of the state, and we're just rooting for cool weather at this point, because that means the severe threat is coming down. Now, I'm going to take you to Futurecast. We will look at the latest HRRR model. It's not going to give you exacts. It's not going to give you total specifics here, but I'll show you a couple of things on it. This is just the output that shows us the latest radar forecast. This is a pretty nice representation of what probably is going to happen over the next 15 hours or so. So follow the clock at the top. You got those storms that are popping out to the east. We've seen a couple of those. They've really had trouble going. So it seems like we're going to need that front to really get the forcing that we need to get these thunderstorms going. And looking at the radar returns here, nothing crazy showing up there. So ideally these don't do what we thought they were going to do. We move on and things look pretty decent. But it does look like waves of thunderstorms coming through probably until about 1 a.m. I think as this front pushes through, everything behind that's going to be more elevated. So let me just take you back a little bit. When I say elevated, I mean it's not surface-based. It's not connected to the surface. So you're not going to get a tornado if you have a stable layer at the surface, in all likelihood. You're not going to see that because you have that stability in the lowest couple thousand feet. So that air mass, everything's being lifted above that. I know it's kind of technical and crazy, but you want elevated instability, because that means that your main threat, pretty much your only threat, is going to be hail. And I know you don't want hail, but I know you really don't want tornadoes. So going back through this, you can just see here, that line is moving through. So here at 8 p.m., we'll see some scattered stuff, and we're going to see how this whole pattern of convection or thunderstorms bears out. But that's the front right there around 10 p.m. So this stuff behind here, in this case, that would probably not be something that we would be worried about for tornadoes, but we would be watching for some damaging hail potential there. And then that front gets to around the Mississippi River, pushing into St. Landry Parish at 1 a.m., and then quickly moves on to the east. So let's take a look at one more. Actually, we'll do a couple more things, then we'll go into the radar, because we're just kind of building this show as we go. This is the CAPE. This is the instability, convective available potential energy. Let's go through this, and I'll show you where that instability, or what's happening there. So like I said, that front's coming through. So this is the surface-based instability. By 11 p.m., That thing we had storms still popping out west. So that elevated instability is still here. The surface-based instability is not. That is getting shoved to the east. So these storms back here, they can still sound the same. They still pretty much look the same. If you're looking out your window at night, it's just lightning flashing, but the tornado threat would be down to 0 in these areas where we don't have that instability. Now out here, still surface-based instability, so still could be some problems with that. But this is a real good indicator of where that front is and why I was saying by 1 a.m. this is crossing the river. It's pretty much only St. Landry Parish at that point, but then it quickly exits there by about 2 a.m. And that's per this forecast. Then it all continues on to the east, and we are all living our best life at that point. Let's do a quick look at the wind gusts. 15-hour, let's see. There we go. All right. So stepping through this, solid winds out ahead of this. There goes the front. I really jumped ahead quickly. So strong gusty winds out ahead of this, strong gusty winds in the storms, but behind that front, again, your timing there about 12:15 toward 1 o'clock, it gets across the river. That's when the wind's going to come down. It's going to stay, breezy, but it's not going to be nearly as strong as what we have been seeing here recently. So that's kind of a step through everything, showing you what's going on, all that good stuff. Let's go back to radar, see what we have. We have a new warning for Sabine Parish. I knew things were going to start misbehaving pretty soon here, but again, it's all tied along that front. And let's see if we're able to highlight where that front is on radar. Let's see how we're doing with this. I will put this in motion and see if I can pick it out. I would estimate that that's the front right there. And let me look at a couple. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to look at the Toledo camera is, we have weather sensors, so we'll be able to see this. I don't think it's there yet, but I'm just going to see what the temp is, so I have kind of a baseline there. And I'll let you know what it is. There are no secrets here. Just waiting for them to pop up over here on the website. And yeah, that... it's a pretty interesting looking storm right over Sam Rayburn, moving toward the northeast. This will cross at mid-lake there, and we will have a good view of that. All right, so going in and looking at the weather sensor. Oh, yeah, that front's not through there yet. So this is where our sensor is right around here. So about 73 degrees, dew point 72. We'll see what we have here in an hour or so. But let me go up and take a look at Shreveport, get you the current conditions there. And I like to get the more kind of technical look at things here and just see all the data. Let's see all these cities here. Yeah, see Shreveport down to 62 with a dew point of 60. When you're at that stage, you can still get supercells, but they're going to be elevated. They're going to be hail producers, but they're not going to be producing. Tornadoes. Now Monroe, 82, dew point 72. That means they have a lot of instability, a lot of surface moisture. Natchitoches, 78, dew point 74. Again, Shreveport is 62, so a big difference. Tyler, Texas, 59, 56 up in Texarkana. So we've got cooler air coming into the area, and we'll be certainly watching that and watching where that front is, because behind it we get that cooler air that really helps us out with our stability. So a couple of things to look at real quick. Let me clear up the map a little bit, get those out of here, clear that off. We'll temporarily take warnings down, or yeah, warnings and watches, I think. Yeah, but did you see that? There's winter storm watches and stuff out in Texas and advisories and all that. I'll show you that in just a second. We have so much weather going on in the last few days. It's been insane. So we're going to go rainfall accumulation over the last week on these radar estimates, and we had talked about this, and this is why we're going to see some big flooding down across the Mississippi River, and then like Larto, if you have a camp out there, that water is going to come down and most likely cause some pretty big rises along that body of water. So if you are in an area that's impacted, if you're in that watershed of the Mississippi River, this is the time to take action and get things out of the way, because, I mean, look at these radar estimates, 17 plus. Up in Kentucky, 11 inches, 12 inches around Little Rock, western, I mean, along the Mississippi River, because that's, and of course there are rivers that feed into that and everything, but a widespread, and they're not used to this up there, 7 to 10, 11 inches of rainfall out of this, and that was widespread. And actually the Red River Basin saw a decent amount of rain, so we'll see what that ends up looking like as well. Down here over the last week, much calmer. Up to the north, we were talking about this, a 10 to 15 inch stripe of rain, and that pretty much bared out from Little Rock up to Lexington. So flooding is going to become a concern. I believe like the Black River will probably see see some problems. Again, Saline, Larto, that area, all that water's going to kind of fill up into that, that area. So if you are out that way, have a camp or something, be careful. So let's see. What kind of hail we got? Oh, come on, y'all. Okay, how's Hornbeck getting? Dangerous storm approaching. Let's look at just your local radar again. Take a look. We have that warning. Got to pull them up, though. Yeah, winter storm warning for Amarillo. Midland, freeze warning. We have freeze watches out there. So a lot of craziness out to the west, and that shows how much we're going to get a lot cooler. So let's look at velocity, make sure we're not dealing with anything. Maybe this could be just post-frontal. That would be very nice, because if that were the case, then we would not see much of a tornado threat. But I do see some spin in this storm, so we're not going to say that. Yeah, definitely some spin there west of Hemphill. That's in the mid-levels. That's looking at about 3,800 feet above ground level. Camera is right up around here, and so that's going to get a view of this as that comes up toward the northeast. Let's look at reflectivity in the hail swath. And then I'll read you the text on that warning too. No, let's look at this one. There we go. Okay, not looking too wild. But this warning goes until 5 p.m. Where are you at? Okay, Shreveport data feed. Shreveport, it's been busy up there. I mean, they've been getting absolutely pummeled with craziness up north of I-20. And again, down here, it's just been windy. It's been all that moisture flowing overhead toward that area. So National Weather Service in Shreveport has issued severe thunderstorm warning for west central Sabine Parish, southeastern Shelby County, southeastern San Augustine County in eastern Texas, and Sabine County in eastern Texas. Severe thunderstorm located near Pineland at 4:19, so 10 minutes ago, or 18 miles northeast of Ebenezer, moving northeast at 45. This is for 60-mile-per-hour winds and possibly some quarter-sized hail. Locations impacted: Bronson, McElroy, Milam, Negrete, Hemphill, Sexton, Yellow Pine, Toledo Bend Reservoir North, Pineland, Chinkapin, and Rosevine. So if you are in any of those towns I called out, you have yourself a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Let's see what the lightning's doing. Lots of lightning. This one's going to put on quite the show as it comes up over the lake. You know you don't want to be on the lake right now. I doubt you were out there anyway today. It's too windy for this. But flood warnings to the west, special weather statements going on. We have these storms that are forming along the line. It's kind of a broken line of supercells that are trying to form here, and that is going to be what we deal with through the evening. What I'm hoping is that this gets out of here quickly. These storms, if they are kind of organized enough, they can shove that front through a little bit quicker. And then we get to the post-frontal stuff where we can get the hail, and I know that's not ideal, but that at least takes that tornado threat out of the equation. Still no tornado watch for Alexandria, but you are in that threat for some severe stuff later on as we get further into the evening. I'm actually going to move my camera in Manny. Well, Toledo Bend, it says Manny in here. I'm going to move that so we're in the right direction for all this. Just kind of have to eyeball exactly which direction I want to point it in. And we will do that. Yeah, it's getting a lot darker. Oh, okay. Kind of see a base to it. All right, let's go over to the camera in a second here. It's going to show me. Yeah, it's gonna take it a second. So I'll do that. I'll pull it up anyway. Storyboards. Nope. Frames. All right, so I'm going to pull up the Skycam at Toledo, then we will probably get out of here so I can just look at a few more things. Without tornado warnings, I'm not always going to be, constant wall-to-wall coverage. Tornado warnings, yeah, I'm here for sure. All right, so get that camera up. We have clicked the button. And there it is. So you can kind of see a little raggedy base on this storm as it comes in. Dew points again at 72, 73 degrees on the temp. Winds actually looking a little bit tamer right now out over the lake, but that is the storm I am watching closely. This is the one that has the severe thunderstorm warning, and it's going to head right over this site here probably in the next 20 minutes or so. So that is the look. You can go out and look at the camera. You know where to find it. It's on the app. It's on the website. And on the HazCam site, you can go out there and see everything that they have, which I think they have 65 cameras or something like that now. So we're building that network up. But right now, just just watching this area out here. I do not see anything imminently tornadic, but you know, it's always going to be some creepy looking clouds out of a severe storm like this. And yeah, so you can watch that there. I'm going to go back to the radar side of things, take a look at it, and then I'll probably take a little break here because I think we're going to be on quite a bit this evening. Storm relative, definitely rotation in there. Let's see if we have a tornado possible tag on that warning. Radar indicated. Nope, they did not do that. So they don't have the tornado possible tag on it, though I am starting to lean toward that potential being there down the road a little bit. Not yet. But you can see, how the red and green came together there? Let's go back like half hour. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Then you see that around Pineland. That's where that storm starts to get together. And west of Hemp Hill, you can see that rotation starting to come together a bit better. And that's at 3,800 feet west of Toledo Bend, 3,800 feet above ground level. We can't see the ground on these storms. Ideally, we could see a couple hundred feet above the ground, but that's pretty much just in a very small area around the radar. So we take what we get. I mean, you can't. These are powerful, awesome radars and everything, but we can't see the lowest of low levels everywhere. But that area right there does bear some watching as it moves up toward Toledo Bend and eventually down the road towards Zwally. And my plan will be to probably be back live if this thing continues to ramp up as this is approaching the lake. So I will step away for a bit. I have a technical issue I'm going to try to fix, and I will be back with you here in a bit. So see you.
No matter the weather, Alexandria Emergency Hospital is always here for you. Rain or shine, our doors are open 24/7 to provide the care you and your